In Sanctuary, every tile adds a little more to your zoo. More animals, more habitats, more projects, and hopefully a little more harmony. I'm Mike with Expedition Gaming, and this is Sanctuary. Welcome to the world of conservation. In Sanctuary, each player is trying to build the best zoo possible. And the way you do that is by acquiring these tiles and adding them into your zoo. So players will spend the game filling up their zoos with these tiles, and these tiles are one of the two primary sources of points in the game. The tiles themselves are worth points, but then many of them will give you ways to sort of build your zoo out to score you even more points. And we'll see the details of exactly how that all works as we begin playing them out, and you can see how they interact with each other. Now, the second main source of points is from this objective board right here. There are 5 objectives that have been randomly assigned for this game. There's a handful of these tiles, and during setup, you shuffle them up and you bring out 5 of them. You complete these objectives by placing tiles into your zoo that have matching icons. So for example, this common wall lizard has these 2 icons here, which match that objective and that one. So putting that tile into your zoo is working toward 2 different objectives at once. So again, the 2 primary sources of points are these tiles and completing the objectives out here. So players will take turns grabbing a tile from the display and adding it into their zoo. And play will go around the table with players taking turns until the end of the game is triggered. The end of the game can be triggered in one of 3 different ways. One way is as soon as any one player has claimed 4 out of these 5 objectives, that will trigger the end of the game. Another way is when the stack of tiles here has been fully depleted, that will trigger the end of the game. And then the third way is whenever a player completely fills up their entire zoo and all of their empty hexes are filled. Any one of those 3 conditions will trigger the end of the game, at which point we'll do final scoring and we'll add up the tiles that are in our zoo, how well we've completed these objectives, and a couple of other little odds and ends that factor in there. For this game, we are all set up for a 2-player game. We will be the blue player. We will be up against Yeti, who is the yellow player. And I say we jump right into gameplay, give you a sense of what it feels like to play the game. And I will teach you how to play as we roll along. Now, the very first thing that a player always does at the start of their turn is to choose a tile from the display. But the thing is, you can't just take any old tile from there. The tile has to be within your range. And you'll notice at the bottom of our board, we have these action cards that are down here. And this this card here shows what our current tile range is. It's this big white arrow, and it's currently pointing at the 1. So that means we can only choose this tile right here. 1 is our range. Over the course of our actions, this can climb up. So say it was sitting in this spot right here, we could choose from range 3. And if that's the case, then we could choose any one of these 3 tiles. But with our range currently sitting at 1, this is our only option. So this is the tile that we will take. And then we'll add that into our hand, quote unquote, hand of tiles here. The game comes with these little stands here, and you would normally use these to put your tiles into, and this way you can see your hand, but your neighbors can't see your hand. But if I use this, then you can't see my hand. It's terrible camera angles. So for this, we'll just set our hand down like that. So step 1 is done getting a tile from the display. Step 2 is performing an action. And an action is always going to be either getting more tiles or playing a tile into your zoo. And I think that's what we want to do. For our first turn, let's take an action to get this lizard played into our zoo. So when you perform an action, you're going to choose one of these action cards and do what it says on that card. Now, these three here allow you to play animals into your zoo. This one allows you to play projects into your zoo. We want to play an animal, and this animal has the rock habitat. So that means to play him into our zoo, we need to take this action right here, because this one lets us play animals with a rock habitat. This one would let us play animals with the forest. This would let us play animals with the water habitat. Now, the other thing to pay attention to is that number right there. Every tile is going to require a certain strength for that tile to be placed into your zoo. So if we want to play this tile into our zoo, the action needs to be at least at a strength of 2. Well, that action is currently pointing at a strength of 3, so strength requirements are met. So what you do is you'll slide this down just a little bit to indicate this is the action that you're taking. And now, with those 2 requirements met, the right habitat and the right strength, we can play the common wall lizard into our zoo. Now, your very first tile that you place down, you have to place it adjacent to your entrance. So we got to choose one of these 3 areas here, and we'll just slot him in right there. Future tiles can be placed either next to the entrance or adjacent to previously placed tiles. And so that's it for placing out the wall lizard. Some animals or tiles, when you place them down, will have an instant effect. He doesn't. He's good to go now. But one thing we do want to pay attention to is this little rectangle down here. This shows that at the end of the game, he'll score points for any other rock habitats that are adjacently connected, or rather sort of contiguously connected. So if we make a big old mass over here of rock habitats, he'll score some points for that. So that might be something that we keep an eye out for as we're selecting our tiles. But now with the action completed, the next step that you do is take that action card and slide it down to the end. So now the strength of that action just got reset. And in doing so, it also increased the strength of these other actions. So that's sort of the life cycle of these action cards here and how their strength shifts over time. And so that's it for our turn. That's it for the mandatory parts of your turn. Every turn, you will always draw a tile from the display and take an action. And then you might possibly do some other things, such as supporting one of these conservation projects and meeting those objectives, or playing a building out into your zoo, but we'll see those all in good time. For now, we move into the administration phase of our turn, which simply has us slide these down and we will refill the row up. The other thing you check for is to make sure you haven't exceeded your hand limit. You are allowed a total of 6 tiles to your hand, so we would have to discard down if we were over that. And then the last thing you check for are any of the 3 endgame conditions. If any of those are met, we would trigger the end of the game and go into final scoring. But for now, let's move over to Yeti's turn. And again, the first thing you always do is grab a tile from the display. He's currently sitting at a strength of 2 for his tile range. So he can choose either of these. He's going to go with the old baboon. Now for his action, he's going to go with this one right here, and he's going to take the bottom part of the tile. As I said before, every action lets you either play a tile into your zoo or get new tiles. The top part of each of these action cards is for playing tiles into the zoo, but the bottom part will let you acquire new tiles. Now these 3 here are all the same. You'll draw 2 tiles from the pile over here. You just, sight unseen, you just grab 2 tiles and add them into your hand. This tile here, if you were to take the bottom part, you can take any one tile from the display And this one is not limited by your tile range. You literally can just grab any tile that's up there, which can be pretty handy if there's something specific you would like to get and it's currently out of your range. As it is, he's just going to take 2 tiles from the pile. So to simulate the closed hand nature of the game, we'll put those in just like that. That completes this. It's already at the 1 position, so it just slides back in like that. Refilling the display. Of course, no endgame objectives are even close yet, so play moves over to us again. And now our current tile range is at 2, so when we look out over here, this ibex looks great. It is a rock terrain, and as we just saw, that lizard would like more rock terrain around him. In addition, the ibex will score for that same condition, so these work really well together. If we can start building up a large habitat of rock, that would be good. In addition, this that icon right there is further progress towards that objective over there. So I think this is a good choice for us. Now, it's at a strength of 3 for this ibex, so we're not going to be able to play it out just yet because, as we saw, our rock habitat action card slid down here to 1, so we'll have to wait till that creeps up a little bit higher. So I think instead what we'll do is we're going to activate this one right here, and we're going to take that bottom effect to take any 1 tile from the display. And let's go with this reptile house. That gets added to our hand, and that completes the action. So again, we've done the 2 things that you'll always do on your turn. We've taken the tile from the display, and we've performed an action. And now when we check for things we could possibly do, we now have one of them that we can do, which is to add a building into our zoo. So at this point in your turn, you check to see, are there any buildings that are in your hand that you meet the criteria for placing out? And if so, then you may, if you want, place 1 building out into your zoo. No more than 1, but you can do at least 1 if you want. And in this case, we do meet the criteria and we do want to. We can put this reptile house out. The criteria is right here. It wants to be next to 1 animal that has the reptile icon on it. So we have that right here with our wall lizard. So we will place that out. I think we'll put it right here. The reptile house at the end of the game will score us 2 points for every reptile icon that is immediately adjacent to it. So going forward, that might be something that we try to put out into our zoo there. So that's it for putting a building into your zoo. And again, that's one of the things you could possibly do. As we said earlier, another thing you could possibly do at this point is support one of the conservation objectives. And that's what these little tokens are right here. If you meet the criteria for some of those objectives, you can assign one of these tokens to it. So in this case, like we've got the common wall lizard and the ibex, that would give us 2 of the European continent icons into our zoo. And as we see, that's one of the objectives right here. So once we got 2 of those icons into our zoo, we could take this 2x token and assign it to that objective. Now, if you can wait and build it up even more, if we could get up to 5 of those, then we could claim it with this 5x. And of course, the higher the multiplier, the more points you'll score. That might be hard to see, it's so faint, but the 2x would give us 5 points, the 3 would give us 7, the 4 would give us 10, and if we were able to meet that criteria 5 times, we could score 14 points for it at the end of the game. So, your 3 possible things you could do are add a building to your zoo, support a conservation objective, and the third one is to upgrade one of your action cards. There are 4 different criteria that you could meet, and if you meet any one of those, then you can upgrade these action cards. For example, this first one is support one of those conservation objectives. So as soon as we do that, then we can flip this over to indicate that's been met. And then we can choose one of these action cards to upgrade. You upgrade it by flipping it over, and it becomes a better version of what it was. You can see that the arrow switches sides, and now you have a higher strength wherever this is sitting at. In addition, instead of playing one animal of that type, this action will let you play 2 animals of that type. So upgrading actions is always a good thing. And the way that we do that is by meeting the criteria on these tiles right here, supporting a conservation objective. This one wants us to play out 2 projects into our zoo. We haven't seen these just yet, but we will soon. This one here is building, having 3 adjacent tiles that have the same kind of habitat. So if we get this played out, we are 2/3 of the way there. And this one here is having 4 unique animal icons in your zoo. We currently have 1 animal icon. This would give us 2 animal icons, and so forth. So we're on the lookout for completing these. And again, this is the 3rd and final possible thing that you could do on your turn. But that is it for our turn. With all of our possibilities exhausted, now we go to administration, which will refill this guy here. We're nowhere near our hand limit, so it goes over to Yeti. His tile range is currently at a 2. He's going to go with the bird breeding project right here. That icon indicates that this is a project. And again, that's what this action card is for. This is for playing out projects. Now for his action, he will go with this one here. He's going to play out that baboon that he got. Now this one here has some requirements when you place it down. You notice these arrows on this side and slightly shaded green on the edges there. That indicates that he has to have this adjacent to open areas on each side that is the arrows are pointing at. So the board comes with 2 pre-printed open areas. So he's going to place this right here, which will satisfy that side. But for this side, you have to take a tile from your hand and place it face down, and now it becomes an open area. So as you can see, those little 1-point icons there, each open area in your zoo will be worth 1 point at the end of the game. But this satisfies that requirement there. That's likely, well, that is why he did not play that out in his first turn, because with this being the only tile in his hand, he was not able to place out an open area and meet the requirement. So that's the rules on open areas. You need to either place down on a pre-existing open area or have tiles in your hand that can create some new open areas. So with that done, this will slide to the end. Our tile range is at a 1, so a nice and easy choice. We will get the pony. Now the pony is interesting. This would be the start of a petting zoo. That's what that little icon is right there. And there's a variety of animals that have that little petting zoo icon there. This will score you points if we can get a few of these animals adjacent to each other. So if we can get at least 3 of them together, they'll be worth 18 points at the end of the game. Now we're still not quite at the point where we can play this ibex. Not quite strong enough there, so let's go ahead and do this action again to take any tile from the display. And I like the looks of this dingo right here because, first off, it's another rock terrain, so that will help with scoring there. Then it's a new animal icon, and at this point we would have 1, 2, 3, 4 types, which would help us accomplish that goal right there. So maybe that'll be good for us. Now there's no buildings to check on. We're not going to support any conservation stuff, and we can't upgrade anything just yet. So our turn comes to a close. Yeti is up. His tile range has hit level 3. So he's going to grab this common ostrich. For his action, he's going to play this project right here. He's placing it down right there. Now it's at a strength of 3. He's just fine right there. Now projects will either give you a way of scoring points at the end of the game, or sometimes they are ongoing abilities that sort of affect how your zoo operates. In this case, this one here is going to give him points at the end of the game for every bird icon that is connected to this tile here. That's it for his turn. He is halfway to being able to upgrade a card, thanks to that tile right there. Back to us, and we keep using this, which keeps limiting our range, so we don't really have a choice. We'll take this project right here, but it's not a bad project. It will make it easier to get out small animals. Small animals are any animal that takes a strength 2 or 3, and large animals take a strength 4 or 5 to place out. So if we were to get this into our zoo, then it would make it even easier to get these 3 out. So not a bad choice. Now the other problem with continuing to use this, keeping our tile range down, is that we have not increased the strength of this here, so we still can't get the ibex out. So with that in mind, let's start working on our petting zoo here. Now you'll notice this habitat icon here looks unlike all the others, and it's sort of a wild or a universal. And you might notice the action cards, any one of these will let you play an animal out that has that type of habitat. So I think for this, let's activate this. Now this is way overkill. It's at strength 4. We only need a strength 2. But I want to get this one out of the way to make room for others to slide up. And I don't see any water-based tiles that I'm super interested in at the moment. So that'll get this out of the way, and we'll be able to play our pony out. And I think it's a nice little entrance to the zoo exhibit. I'll place that right there. Yeti is at a range of 1, so he will be taking the crocodile. And for his action, he'll activate that, and he's going to play out his Dusty Leaf Monkey. Start making a little primate exhibit over here. Strength of 3, no problem. He's at 4. So he's good there. I'm just realizing that this had an instant effect that we never activated. When you play this down, he should have drawn 1 tile from the pile. So he will do that. And just to point out one other little thing, that icon right there, that means that this baboon at the end of the game is just worth a straight 8 points on its own. We've seen some of these already where we see the rectangle with the hexes. That's an indicator that tiles that are contiguously adjacent, creating a cluster, will all factor into that scoring. He's got a similar thing here with his birds, but when you see just a single ticket like that, that is just straight up that amount of points for that tile. Now this tile could still factor in, like if something wanted to see other primates or, land types or whatever, this could factor into other tiles' scores, but this tile itself will give you 8 points. Over to us, our tile range is a 2, and so between these two, say we go with the iguana. It's another one of these lizard icons, and that would be good for our reptile house. Now we actually could play it out right away. The action card is at the right strength, but its instant effect says that we could take one tile from the display, and I'm not super fussed about the tiles that are currently out there, at least not enough that makes me feel like this is a great time to cash in on that. So instead, I think it's the Ibex's time to shine. We've been waiting to build it up, and I think we're there. So it's at a strength of 3, so we'll be able to play him out and start working on our cluster of rock habitats here. Now by placing this out, we have 2 of the Europe icons, and we could, if we wanted, cash in on hitting up that objective there. We could stick it out there and lock in meeting that conservation objective at a strength of 2, but I'm a little nervous about doing that where it's still kind of early, and I don't quite know what we want to lock our multipliers into. For example, we know for sure we wouldn't want to use a 3 because we're sitting on 3 of the reptile icons, so at the very least we can assign a 3 to that. I guess what I'm trying to say is we might get more of these Europe icons into our zoo, and we could have gotten a bigger multiplier. As an alternate example, we don't have any Africa icons, and I don't see anything out right now. Now, I'm sure other Africa icons will come out, but when I look at what we're currently sitting on and what I can see, I'm just a little hesitant to cash in on this. I'm also a little tempted to do it though, because if we did that, we would then be able to upgrade one of our cards early on at this state in the game, which is always good. But we only need one more rock terrain, which we're sitting on, and we can do this upgrade. And we have 1, 2, 3. If we can get this out, this tile out would let us complete both of these. So only 1 tile away from 2 upgrades. Let's hold off. It's a little early to lock in on those. Yeti's range is 2, and he's going to go with the primatologist. He's already got a couple of primate icons in his zoo. For his turn, he's actually just going to activate this one here and take the bottom action, which is to draw 2 tiles from the pile. That will end his turn, and in the administration step, we finally have someone who's close to their hand limit. He's right at the 6 tile limit, so he's okay there. Back over to us, and we are currently sitting at a range of 3. And at first, I got really excited. I saw this and I thought, oh, that'll give us a discount on the Europe icons. But no, it's actually the Asia icons. These two look very similar both in appearance and color, but that still wouldn't be bad. Discounts are always good. But I'm kind of thinking we go with the Canyon here. We haven't seen these kind of projects just yet, but these will allow us to release animals back into the wild. And the way that that works is when you do eventually play this out, it will cover up the animal type that you're releasing. So in this case, we would be releasing a reptile type, and we would actually cover that animal up. This tile would take its place. And I think this will work in our benefit down the road. We want to try to gather up a bunch of reptiles for the objective. So this will be a later play, but once we've completed that objective, we could release one of those animals back, and we'll get some of these tokens here, which are either worth points or helping us achieve other objectives. And we'll see the details of that later, but I think this might be a good tile for us to play later on in the game, and it will also increase our rock habitat cluster here. So we'll see what we can do with that over time. For our action, given what we're sitting on here, we're not strong enough to play that one, or that one. So I think instead we will just use this to draw 2 tiles from the pile here. Yeti is at a tile range of 2, and he'll take the one that discounts getting out Asia icons. And then for his action, he's going to activate this one to play out the Nile Crocodile. Now this one requires an open area right there, so he's going to place this down in this spot next to that open area. And by covering up this icon, he'll get that benefit immediately. This will let him draw a tile off of the pile and add it to his hand. And then in addition, this lets him take 1 tile from the display. And again, that is not limited by his tile range. He can take any tile. So he will add that. And he's going to take this one here for another discount. That action is complete. And now Yeti is over his hand limit. He's got 8 tiles. He needs to discard down to 6. And the 2 that he's discarding just go into a discard pile off to the side. Over to us, and we are at a range of 3. And we really want this Alpine Ibex. You can see here that this is the male version. And if we can place the male next to the female, then we'll create a pair. And if we create a pair, then we will gain one of these conservation tokens. And these can be pretty helpful. First off, they're worth 2 points at the end of the game. But during the game, you can spend one of those when you're trying to complete one of these objectives here. And each token that you spend substitutes having one of those icons in your actual zoo. So it can help you accomplish higher levels of these objectives without having that many icons in your zoo. So these can be pretty darn helpful. On top of that, he's a rock habitat and the Europe icon. So this is a perfect fit for us. Unfortunately, he's just out of range because we're choosing within here. So for right, you know what? I think I got a plan here. We're going to grab this brown bear, and it's got a Europe icon, which is good. He's worth 8 points, which is really good. But we'll have to pay attention to the fact that it wants an open area above him. So we'll see about that. What I think we're going to do, though, is play this card right here to get the green iguana out. And needs a strength of 3. We're at 4, so we're fine there. This is another reptile, and I think we'll place that right... You know what? We'll stick that right up here. It will be adjacent to the reptile house, which will help score that. And now we can take 1 tile from the display, and you know it, we're taking the Alpine Ibex. And we are over our hand limit, and so we're going to discard down this building here, which wants America's icons, and we only currently have 1 of them out, so we'll get rid of that. Yeti's at a range of 3, and so he'll go with the squirrel monkey. And then he will play the squirrel monkey. Strength of 2, he's fine there. And for us, with our range of 4, I think we're going to take the Zoo Kitchen. This building wants you to have 5 different animal icons, and then you'll gain 2 of those conservation tokens. I don't think it'll be too long before we hit that, and so those conservation tokens are always good. So we'll keep that there. And now we are sitting perfectly to get the other Ibex out. We need a strength of 3, so we will activate that there. We'll place this down, and this icon here says that after finishing this current action, we'll be able to take one of these tiles and slide it down to the 1 position and sort of shuffle some things along. But we'll finish this action completely and then do that. So we'll slot that in there. With that completed, that moves down. And now we'll move this one here down a little bit. Which that's kind of nice because now we're positioned to get the dingo out if we want him out. And having created that pair, we will now gain a conservation token, and we'll store that right there. Now, we only have 3 animal types in our zoo, so we can't quite get this building put out there yet. But we are able to upgrade a card because this here wants us to have 3 connected tiles of the same habitat type. And now we have that. We have 3 rock habitat tiles. So we can flip this over and upgrade one of our cards. And I think we'll do this one here. First and foremost, that will give us better range. And that's always a good thing. So we'll stick with that. And then the top part of the action stays the same, where you can play 1 project, but now we can take 2 tiles from the display instead of just 1, if we choose the bottom part of the action. And now there's still no rush to complete any of those objectives that are over there. We still have time for that. The only time there might be a rush is if we're getting close to the end of the game, because you can only ever claim 1 of these on your turn. So if you're hoping to try to cash in a few of them on your turn and we're real close to the end of the game, you might not have enough time. Right now, we've got plenty of time. So we can still hold off on cashing any of these in or locking any of these in until we have a better feel for which ones we can do the high multipliers on and which ones we might sort of have straggling. And so we'll see that as we go along. Yeti is still at a range of 3. He'll grab this project right here. And then for his action, he's actually going to play out a project. He's going to put the Bronx Zoo into his location here, and that will give him discounts on placing out America's icons. And now he's going to place out the primate house. This building here needs to be next to 1 primate. He's got a few lined up, so that'll give him 2 points for each connected primate surrounding this house here. Oh, I just realized when he set this out, he gets to take 1 tile from the display that has the America's icon. So he will grab the only one with the America's icon. And coming back to the things he could possibly do, actually, you might have noticed this, but these little icons on our boards here walk us through each of the steps of our turn. This shows you grabbing a tile from the display and then taking an action. These are the 3 things that you could possibly do on your turn. He placed out a building. He is not going to support one of those conservation objectives this turn, but he is going to upgrade one of his action cards because now he has out 2 projects. So he can complete this one here and upgrade one of his action cards. He's going to do the same thing for his first one. That flexibility is too good to pass up front here. So he will increase his range, and if he chooses that, be able to take if he chooses the bottom part of the action, he'll get 2 tiles from the display instead of the regular 1. We're sitting on a massive range of 5. And I'm thinking, though, let's grab this this little otter guy right here, or girl, rather. And I don't know if we'll really be able to tap into that benefit right there that wants us to have connected water habitats, but gives us one of the icons we're shooting for, and it's got a predator icon, and so if we get the dingo out, which we're planning on, then that'll score us an extra point there. So we'll see. For our action, we're going to play out this project right here. And that's going to give us a discount on all small animals, which is going to be good. Maybe a discount isn't the right word, but make it easier to get them out. We will get to instantly take 1 small animal from the display, and I think we want to go with this laughing kookaburra. It's going to be more of that rock habitat, and will give us some points if we can get these guys out next to each other. Now the only problem is we're over our hand limit, and we got to get rid of one of these tiles, and that's tough because we could have a good use for every one of them. But I'm thinking we get rid of Mr. Brown Bear here. I think we'll have enough of the Europe icons. We'll be fine there. The fact that we have to put in an open space makes him a little bit harder to figure out into our puzzle here, so we'll get rid of him. With Yeti's range of 2, grab the Sumatran tiger. And for his action, he's going to play Scarlet Macaw. We have a range of 2, and honestly, either one of these are not really great for what we have currently going on. So we'll grab this one here. It may be one that has to get discarded at some point, or we could use it as open area. But if we do play it out, it'll give us a discount on forest habitat. But for our action, we are going to play out the Laughing Kookaburra. We're going to place him right there. Again, he's a rock habitat, so he's continuing to build up our little rock situation over here. But by placing that icon out, that is now 4 animal icons. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, which is not enough to get this building out yet. We need 1 more animal icon, but it is enough to complete this upgrade. So we have 4 different animals. We can upgrade another one of our action cards. Let's go with this one here. Give us a little more power on the water element of it, but it also now lets us play out 2 animals from the water habitat. And if we decide to work on this otter and building up some water-based animals, maybe that'll help us with that. Yeti's range is 3, and he's going to grab Bird Trees Building. And he's going to play another project. This one here, which will give him a discount on Asia icons, and it will allow him to take 1 tile from the display that has an Asia icon. That's the only one, so he'll grab this one. Now, as he checks, he can place out this building right here. It wants to be next to 1 bird, and then it's going to give him points for each adjacent bird at the end of the game. Well, we have a range of 3. And looking at all of these here, the koala would be good because it would, if we could connect it to that kookaburra, it would score us some points because of the Australia icon. But we have 0 Africa icons right now, and that's one of the objectives. So I don't know if we'll be able to get this guy out very easily, but it's at least one of the icons we are currently missing. So we'll bring him in there and see what we can do over time. I think for our action, we are going to activate this one here to place out this dingo. Now it's a rock habitat. Requiring a strength of 2, we're sitting at 1, but this project here gives us a discount on this, so we only need a strength of 1 to place him out. So he'll come out, and we will place him right here, which will give us a tile off of the top of the pile. That's not a bad pull. That gives us another reptile we could place down there. And it's another water habitat, so maybe we could start making a nice little home for these guys here. But now as we look, we do have 5 different animal icons. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we can place out the zoo kitchen. I think we'll place that, oh, maybe right there. With Yeti's range of 2, he's going to grab this koala. And for his action, he's going to activate this, do the bottom part to draw 2 tiles from the pile. And then he's going to be over his hand limit, so he needs to evaluate. He'll discard these 3 here. And with our range of 3, I'm tempted to grab this project here to give us the Africa icon, but I like this toucan. Gives us another bird. If we had him in the right spot, he could increase our rock habitat cluster. So we'll see. I think for our action, it's a little bit of overkill, but we want to put out this Chinese water dragon. We only need him at a strength of 1, and it's at 5. But I feel like he's the piece to the puzzle here that will help us expand out, because we want him to go right here, and then we want to build out our waterway from him, and we want him next to the reptile house right there. Now, if we do that, it'll kind of cut off this petting zoo, and I would have loved to have built this up more, but we just haven't seen any more of these animals come out, so we got to kind of roll with what comes our way. You know what? I'm going to reverse that order a little bit. Instead of placing the Chinese water dragon out, we'll do the otter, and obviously there was more than enough strength. We'll place him right there, leaving room for, we know where the Chinese water dragon's going to go, but makes a little bit more sense to get the higher valued thing out. We'll be able to get him out at any time now. Yeti's at a range of 3 right now, and with that, he'll grab this project right here, which would let him release an Africa animal. And for his action, he will play a forest animal, and he's going to place this one right here. It says place 1 open area from the pile into your zoo. So he'll grab this one right here, and he's going to place it down right there. And this will allow him to choose any tile from the display. He will go with the Africa Pavilion. And now he is over his hand limit once again. And he will discard this jaguar. With our range of 4, I say we grab this python. It gives us another one of the reptile tags, and I think we got a great spot for it. It's part of the rock habitat, so we could place it right there. It would continue the rock, or even over here, and it would meet the objectives of the reptile house as well as continue on our rock habitat there. In fact, let's do it. Strength of 3, we're at a 2, but again, with our small animal discount, that's just fine. So we can take that, place it down, and then right away it says relocate 1 tile in your zoo. And we haven't seen any more of these come out, but let's go ahead and relocate that tile up to there. That will free up some space in case we do see some more petting zoo animals come out. We can start building off of that. Now, looking at our objectives, we currently have 4 of the Europe icons sitting out there, and we've got 1 more ready to go. We also have 4 of the reptiles with 1 ready to go. So we've got 2 top contenders for our highest multipliers. And I think we have plans to get all of them out and the time to do so. So at the very least, let's go ahead and lock in one of our multipliers. And again, I don't think it matters. We'll go ahead and do the Europe objective. So we'll take this and we will slot it in right there. You flip it over to indicate that is complete, and we will now gain 10 points. And one thing that is nice about this is no one can block you out of completing any of these objectives. So just because we've completed it, Yeti can still come in and complete the same objective. Your only limiter is, again, time. If you don't get these done before the end of the game, you can't do more than 1 per turn. So you got to make sure that you staggered them out far enough that you can complete everything. But that'll do it for us. But with that done, we now can complete this right here. We have supported one of those conservation objectives, so we can flip that to upgrade another action card. And we've already done the water. We've already done, well, we haven't done this, but we've already got a discount for that. So I think with our forest tiles, we'll go ahead and upgrade that action card there. And actually, this should have already slidden down. With Yeti's range of 4, he's actually just going to take the observation deck here at slot 1. For his action, he's going to play a project. And it will be the primatologist. He'll place that right there. From now on, whenever he plays down a primate icon, he can relocate a tile within his zoo. And with that done, he is going to place out a building. And it is the Africa Pavilion. It simply needs to be by the river. So he's going to place it right here. Now, these are the rivers. So you have rivers on each side. So he's good there. This is going to let him move one of his action tiles to the front of the queue. And then he is going to support one of those conservation objectives. He now has 5 primate tags out, so he will take his 5x multiplier and lock that in right there. And then just like us, because he did that, he can now upgrade another one of his cards. And he'll go with the forest there. Starting to get a little concerned at how close Yeti is to completing out his zoo. So we definitely need to be focused on getting our objectives done here. Speaking of, I just realized when we put out the zoo kitchen, we should have received 2 of those conservation tokens, and we did not. So these, like I said, they'll help us. They'll score points for us if we still have them at the end of the game, but they'll help us contribute towards completing out these objectives, which we probably want to do sooner rather than later. All right, so we're sitting at a range of 4. None of these are super attractive, and I'm not super worried about any of them, so we'll grab this project here, add that in. And then I think let's work on our main stuff here. We're going to put the Chinese water dragon in right where we were thinking. And now with that complete, we have 5 of the reptile icons. So we can lock that in right there. We're good on our hand limit. Hey, it's another petting zoo animal. With Yeti's range of 3, he's going to grab the library. There's action, he's going to play this koala here. Place it right there. This says he can discard up to 2 tiles to gain 1 pouch token for each that he discards. So he's going to get rid of both of these here. And that will gain him 2 of these pouch tokens. Now these guys are just for points. Kind of like the conservation tokens at the end of the game, each one of these tokens will be worth 2 points. Unlike the conservation tokens, they don't have any other function, so they'll just get you some points. So that will finish that. He is going to lock in his 4x. He has 4 of the bird icons. And in addition, by placing this tile out there, he now has 3 of the same type of habitat next to each other, and this is now his 4th animal type. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. So he will actually get to complete both of these and get all of his action cards in their upgraded state. Now, this is pretty small, might be hard to make out. For putting buildings out, you can only do 1 of those per turn, just like you can only support 1 conservation objective per turn, but you can do as many of these as requirements that you've met on your turn. So he's good to go there. We're at a range of 4, and once again, I'm not really concerned about what we have access to. We'll grab this one only because of the irony that this would have been very helpful for us much earlier in the game, giving us a discount on getting all those Europe icons out there. But with that, let's play this action here to put out our toucan. With our small animal discount, we can get him out at a strength of 2. So we'll place him right there. And of course, the rock habitat will continue expanding. And now we have 2 of the bird icons. We're going to spend 1 of these conservation tokens to treat that as if we had 3 of those out there. We'll lock in that objective there. With Yeti's range of 4, he's going to grab this building right here. For his action, he's going to play a project. He's going to play this one right here. He's going to release an animal. So he's going to release this Nile crocodile. And each of these releases have a different criteria for it. In this case, he needs to release something that comes from Africa, which is what he will do. So he'll cover this up, and then depending on the size of the animal, he'll gain a certain number of those conservation tokens. Small animals will get him 2. This is a large animal of strength 4 or 5, so he'll get 3 conservation tokens for releasing that animal. And then for the building step, he's going to play out this library. Needs to be next to 2 other projects. So he's met that requirement, and then he can slide an action tile to the low end here. Slide that down. Now he has 3 of the Africa's icons. So he'll lock that in right there. Now, with our range, we definitely have reach, and we're certainly going to grab this sheep here. I just don't know if we're going to get him out in time. We're very, very close to triggering the end of the game. If either one of us put out our last tokens here, that's going to trigger the end of the game. Now, the way that this works is if someone triggers the end of the game by either putting out all 4 of their conservation objectives or by filling up their map, then everyone else at the table will get 1 more final turn, excluding the player who triggered the end of the game. If the end of the game is triggered by depleting the stacks of tiles, the game will actually end immediately and no one else gets any final turns. That is definitely not happening in our 2-player game. So either one of these happening means that the other player is going to get 1 final turn. Now, whoever triggers the end of the game will get this token here, which is worth 10 points. And if the other player can also, in their final turn, meet one of those end game triggering conditions, they get to claim this tile, which is worth 5 points. So you get a few extra points if you are the one that triggered it. You definitely get some extra points if the other player cannot also meet that. That being said, though, we're really close to triggering, and no matter who triggers, we'd be able to get our last tokens out there. So we're okay as far as that's concerned, and there's no, I don't think Yeti's not going to be able to get that out. So it's not like we could beat him to the punch. So at a minimum, I think we have 2 more turns. If Yeti triggers on the next turn, then we still have 1 more turn. So we have at least 2 turns. So I think we'll play this Barbary Macaw out because that will definitely be, I think, our highest scoring one. He's 5 points, and then he'll add to this water habitat here. So we'll place him down right there. That move is optional. The rulebook says you may move, so I'm not going to worry about moving any of our tiles around here. And the only 2 objectives left to complete are either Africa icons or primates. We don't have any of those in our zoo. We've got this Africa here that we will get out, and then we can use a conservation token to claim that last objective. So nothing to claim for the moment. We'll just have to keep an eye on what Yeti decides to do. Oh! 1 more of these guys. Yeti's range is 3. So he'll grab the Australian dingo. And for his action, he's going to play the dingo that he just got. He'll place that just right there. For his buildings, he's going to place out this observation deck. It says it needs to be next to 4 different animal and or continent icons. So he's going to place that right here. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, he's good there. And then, indeed, he is going to spend 1 conservation token to support the Europe icon-based objective. So he's got one Europe icon. He'll spend this token. He will lock that in there, which will trigger the end of the game. So he'll bring this back, and that will end his turn and his game. So now it will move to us, and we have one final turn. We have a range of 4, but once again, we're not concerned with pretty much anything that's out here. So we'll grab that. And then for our action, we're going to play this northern giraffe right here. This allows us to take one building from the display. Again, this won't matter much. We can't actually play that building out, but we can certainly support our last conservation objective. We're going to spend 1 token to meet the Africa's objective. That'll lock in right there. And with that, our turn is done, and the game comes to a close. Now at this point, we'll go into final scoring, add up all of the categories, and see how we stand. So let's walk through final scoring, and you'll see how all of this shakes out. Oh, but first we do get to collect this token for having triggered, having met one of the end game trigger conditions. So let's take a closer look. There are 7 main things that we're going to add up and score. The first thing that we'll look at are the animal tiles. And again, some of these are going to be just straight points, and some of them are going to be conditional. So as we move through, like this guy here is just worth 5 points. And then this otter will give us 2 points for every connected water habitat. So we've got 3 right there. So this otter will be worth 6 points. This pony is the only animal we got into this petting zoo. So with 1 animal in there, it's going to be worth 3 points. Next up, the green iguana is just worth 4 points. Then we have the Chinese water dragon, just like the otter, will score us 1 point for each water connected. So he's worth 3 points. This giraffe is worth 7. We'll skip the reptile house. That is a building, and we'll score that next. Our common wall lizard will give us 1 point for each connected rock habitat. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's worth 7 points. Next up is the toucan. He's worth 2 points for each connected America's icon. And there's nothing connected, but he does get to score his own icon. So he's worth 2 points. The python's worth 4. This ibex is going to score this rock cluster again. There were 7 tiles in here. They're each worth 2 points. So he's going to give us 14 points. The dingo here will give us 1 point for every predator icon in our zoo. Now you'll notice the difference here that it just shows the icon next to the victory point compared to this one here, which indicates it's maybe kind of hard to see, but the little rectangle of hexes back there, that means that they need to be connected to each other. This icon here simply means they just need to be in your zoo. So we have 2 predator icons. That dingo will be worth 2 points. This kookaburra is going to be worth 4 points. We have 2 connected Australia icons. And then 1 more whopper. This other ibex will once again score these 7 rock tiles and give us 14 points. So all told, our animal tiles will give us a total of 75 points. Next up, we will score our buildings. And some buildings don't give you any points, like this one gave us these tokens here. So no points from that building. The reptile house, however, will gain us 8 points. Now in this case, the icon on the tile itself does not count towards that score. So he'll just score for the 4 that are surrounding. So 8 points for that building. So for our buildings, we'll get a total of 8 points. The next category you would score are projects. We only have one project and it doesn't give us any points. Next up are open areas in your zoo. Each open area is worth a single point. We have the 2 pre-printed ones, so we'll gain 2 points there. The next category are the objectives that we've been working towards. We have all 4 of them added up together. That's a total of 36 points. Next up would be our conservation tokens or pouch tokens. We have 1 of those, and so that's worth 2 points. And then the very last thing would be if we were able to claim 1 of these, which we were. So that's going to be worth 5 more points. So added all together, our final score is 128. Over to Yeti. First up, we'll score his animal tiles. And this squirrel monkey would give him 1 point for every tile that is still in his hand. He only has 1 tile here. He sat on a huge hand most of the game and was able to empty it out. So unfortunately, squirrel monkey will not give him any points, but that'll be 1. This dusky leaf monkey will give him 2 points for each connected forest tile. It's a total of 3, so that'll be worth 6 points. The koala is a straight 5. The baboon is a straight 8 points. The white stork will give him 1 point for every open area in his zoo. So he's got 4 open areas, so that will score him 4 points. This macaw is worth 4 points. And this dingo is going to be worth 1 point because he only has 1 predator icon across his zoo. So all told, his animals will give him a total of 29 points. Next up is buildings. This library will give him 2 points for every project that is in his zoo here. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects. This library will give him 10 points. Then he's got the primate house, which will give him 2 points for each primate icon. He's got 3 there. Now these, again, this is like our reptile house. They need to be touching that tile, so that won't count. So he'll get 6 points for the primate house. His observation deck will give him a point for each different animal and or continent icons. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different animal and continent icons. So that'll be worth 6 points. Next up is bird trees. They will get 2 points for each adjacent bird icon. He's got 2 of them, and that will give him 4 points. And then his last building is the Africa Pavilion. He'll get 1 point for every Africa icon, and he has 3 of those. So that'll be worth 3 points. So his buildings will give him a grand total of 29 points. Next up are projects. This gives no points. That is worth 4. This one will give him 1 point for every primate icon in his zoo, and he's got a total of 5. This will give him 2 points for every connected bird icon. So he's got 4 right there, so he'll get 8 points. And then his last project here does not score any points. So his projects will give him a total of 17 points. Next up are open areas, and again, he has 4 open areas, so that'll get him 4 points. Then we have these up here, which again, he got all of them, and those are worth 36 points. Next are the pouch and conservation tokens. They're each worth 2. He has a total of 4, so he'll get 8 points for that. And then finally, he was able to claim the first of these tokens for an additional 10 points, which brings Yeti's grand total to 133. So there you have it. Yeti took the win. That surprised me. I thought that we were going to have him, especially when we scored so high with our animals. We more than doubled what he earned out of his animal tiles, and I thought that that was going to be enough. But in the end, he had some really good building and project scores, and ultimately was able to take the win. But in all of this, I hope that the playthrough here gave you a sense of the kind of combos and situations that you're looking at creating when you're placing out your zoo. And you're always paying attention to the objectives that are out there and what you can do to accomplish those, but then also capitalize on whatever opportunities might come up based on the tiles that are out. But that'll do it. Thank you for watching and joining. I hope you enjoyed this and it gave you a good sense of how the game plays. And until next time, we will see you on our next expedition.